is there any sort of difference between the PGDM and the PGDMC placement? So how does that work?
The recruiter is given a choice to select between the profiles which are shared across the two programs, and they come up with the final shortlist.
Where placements are either completely professionally managed or completely student driven.
Right.
So how does it work at MICA?
So if we have to say that MICA, the student placement is completely a student driven activity, but facilitated by the administration.
What are the activities or training that you provide to the students before they appear for the summer placement process?
Going by the track record, MICA is known for 100% placement record, and we give a lot of flexibility to students in terms of application for a job.
Students keep hearing these reports and then they get concerned about the future of MBA itself. What you do differently to get that 100% record. And second, any apprehensions if they have in their mind, what would you say which will clear that up?
Okay, this is an interesting but a very relevant question.
Hi students, so we are at MICA and we are joined by Dr. Indranil Banerji, and we are going to have a conversation regarding something that is very important and of interest to all of you, which is the placement process at MICA. And we are not going to only talk about the placement process, but a lot that goes behind that. So we're going to talk about the journey of the student as they enter and they finally have the outcome in the form of placement. So thank you so much, sir, for joining and taking out time. Placement journey of the student, right? So we have the summer placement and the final placement. So if you can help the students understand, so how does this whole thing work? So once the student joins the program, when do the summer placements happen and when do the final placements happen?
Yeah, thank you. So I think the journey of students in MICA when they come as a first year student is very exciting at the very beginning, because right from the orientation stage, which is the starting of the batch, the students are exposed to a lot of corporate, a lot of case competition, as well as a lot of live projects, which builds them as a part of, they are developing and understanding and discovering the sector for which they have come for MICA's, journey. Ideally, the summer projects, students normally start preparations from the month of September, and finally they actually start working for industry by April for the next year. What is interesting to note is that summer projects or summer internships are ideally a very, very good success recipe for an institute. If it is done successfully, they translate into good PPOs. What we do as a very important aspect in terms of summers are a three-pronged approach of a faculty mentor, a corporate mentor, and an alumni mentor, helping out the student to ultimately come out with a very successful summer project. So this helps the student not only to understand real life problems and solutions, but also get some way or the other guided by the alumni in terms of his or her expertise in the sector. Coming to another aspect which students do very well is with live projects. To give you some pointers in live projects, last year our student body completed 55 live projects for the industry and coughing up almost like 25 lakh rupees for themselves in terms of earnings. What is important is these live projects are helping the students to deal with use cases, the present challenges which are being faced by industry, so that they are more or less ready when they actually enter into the workforce. The third part where students are getting very well guided for summers is by way of a specific I would say, credited course, which is to do with the industry learning for the sector which they will be working for. Okay. So they get prepared in the month of January, February and March before they get into the summer projects for the month of April. So this is to do with your entire summer projects, live projects, etc. The other engagement with the industry, which the institute does is with respect to calling market leaders in space of marketing, strategy, to come and interact with students in the form of leadership talks, which is again a very standard format, but we try to also extract a lot of learning from these interactions by way of interacting with the guests and working with them in terms of any type of projects. Not to forget, MICANs are very well well entrenched into the case competitions. So if you look at some of the best case competitions which are running in the country, including L'Oreal, ITC, MICANs have been consistently performing year on year and ranking very high. Either they are toppers, top national finalists, semi-finalists, or in the finalist rounds. So this type of a curation which MICANs get through in last say over the last 30 years, this has created a tradition that whosoever gets into the system actually wants to crack the code. And that is the benefit which students actually get when they get into a competitive setup like MICA. Coming to the final placements, I think students are, by the time the final placements are ongoing, they come to know, and by that time they would have discovered their passion area. So students at MICA do very well in the areas of marketing, strategic branding, analytics, as well as, of course, brand, market, and creativity are three aspects which MICANs are always known for. They are getting roles which are across the domains in the area of FMCG, FMCD, consumer packaged goods. If you talk about, in the area of quick commerce, e-commerce, we are also having a lot of traction from the areas of fintech, health tech. So these are areas where students are getting into newer roles, right? And lastly, not to forget the conventional roles across sectors like BFSI. So this is, I would say in a nutshell, what is in it for them when they come to MICA.
Okay. And sir, a lot of students have this concern because they keep hearing stories about different kinds of B-school, right? So where placements are either completely professionally managed or completely student driven.
Right.
So how does it work at MICA?
Okay, so if we have to say that MICA, the student placement is completely a student driven activity, but facilitated by the administration. The reason emanates from the fact that whenever students work as a composite body like a PlaceCom, they interact with the industry leaders, and the type of insights they generate by way of interaction as well as discussion with respect to summers or finals, that prepares them to become sort of experts in that particular sector. At MICA, we always believe in that, because MICA is considered to be a mecca for marketing and considered by most of the our recruiters. So we always feel that a student-driven body works out to be much better. Whenever there is a need, the administration facilitates the same.
Okay, and when it comes to the role of administration, right?
Yes.
From a training perspective to the students, so that
Right.
they are better prepared for placements, because of course you're going to have a mix of students who come with work experience and students who don't have any work experience.
Yes.
So what are the activities or training that you provide to the students before they appear for the summer placement process?
So as I mentioned to you earlier, the first training which these students go for is a sectoral understanding of the sectors which possibly comes as a part of the summers, right? So all the sectors like FMCG, FMCD, all of them are, the students are given training where, industry experts are invited to, throw some light with respect to the sectoral updates, like what are the challenges, what are the skill gaps in the sector, how it can be improved upon. So those are some of the key things which students learn. Over and above that, the credited course which I spoke to you is a part of that. But there is a lot of alumni mentoring which is a part of the student built up over the last 2 years. So this helps them to understand, interact, as well as any alum is willing to help. The best part about MICA, the community, is the entire community works as a tribe. So if the current student wants to get into somebody from the first batch or from the earlier batches, they just need to connect with the alumni and they get all the help extended. So one of the biggest ways of MICA's overall preparedness is the students' ability to navigate through a very flexible environment. And that environment facilitation happens not only through the campus, but also in the environment of alumni, as well as any of the faculty members who are willing to help them out. Okay. That's how we see it. If you look at the track record, the first 10 batches of MICANs who are there right from 96 to 2005, most of them are in the 60% of them are in the level of CXO, CXO -1, -2. So which helps the students to get the strategic viewpoint of the industry in a much better fashion, right? And going by the track record, MICA is known for 100% placement record, and we give a lot of flexibility to students in terms of application for a job. So even if you are interested for the job, you show interest and apply for it. If you are not, you can opt out for that specific role.
Okay. And sir, again, a lot of students have asked this question to me in the past, hence I'm asking you. A majority of the institutes that have multiple programs, right? There's a distinction between the programs when it comes to placement. So is there any sort of difference between the PGDM and the PGDMC placement? So how does that work?
So for us, the PGDM and PGDMC works as a single cohort. Yes. So the student profiles are shared as a whole, but there are specific job requirements which necessitate certain specific skills which come out from either the PGDMC program or the PGDM program. So basis of that, the recruiter is given a choice to select between the profiles which are shared across the two programs, and they come up with the final shortlisting. So from the campus point of view, we call the recruiters for both the two programs at the same point of time.
So it's a common placement process?
It's a common placement process as of now.
Okay. And sir, you mentioned about 100% track record. Last couple of years have been challenging for the Indian B school scenario.
Right.
A lot of top tier institutions have also not been able to place people.
Agreed.
Some of them have even made students opt out of the placement process, etc. Right? So, and students keep hearing these reports and then they get concerned about the future of MBA itself.
True.
So, if you can help students understand firstly what you do differently to get that 100% record, and second, any apprehensions if they have in their mind, what would you say which will clear that up?
Okay, this is an interesting but a very relevant question that, you know, campuses do pressurize with respect to opting out, but at MICA the culture is extremely open and very flexible. Students from the very first organization, you know, on campus, they have the right to either apply or not to apply, and this goes right through the process of the placement season. And yes, last year also there was a slow process based on which the overall placement season got a bit extended at MICA also. However, MICA supported the students right through the placement journey till the last student got placed. So I mean, that type of a confidence the student cohort has in MICA, that come what may, the institute takes care of their career aspiration and the early career aspirations at this stage. What we intend to tell the aspirants is, MICA is such a cohort, I mean, MICA is such an environment that it does not prepare you only for your first job. It prepares you for your career. So that's the takeaway message I would like to put to your group.
Okay. And sir, when it comes to having a very steady recruiter base, and you're also must be adding recruiters every single year, what is it that the institute is doing with the recruiters to have that sort of a relationship over a long period of time?
Okay, so I think our relationship with some of our legacy recruiters goes back maybe since the last 3 decades. They are very regular on campus with respect to, you know, the relationship with MICA. As an institute, we have involved recruiters in very many aspects. So one of them obviously is their involvement and feedback with respect to curriculum. So this helps them to be a part of the process of shaping up students for future. And what is more important is, if they are a part of the academic advisory, if they are a part of the curriculum building, if they are a part of co-teaching, or if they are a part of even visiting faculty for a specific vertical, which is a very important aspect of that industry. So we try to involve them in all these aspects, which again gives them a feeling that they are part of the building process for MICA. The second aspect where recruiters have been very well, or so our relationship with corporates have been very well, has been in the area of faculty helping out or trying to help out the corporate with respect to even consulting projects, writing new research papers with them for a specific, industry problem. We also try to, top it up with respect to executive education with the recruiters, and even we seek live projects from them. So the idea with respect to recruiters is a 360-degree approach, so that they not only take our talent with respect to summers and finals, but also shape them up with respect to the very first year when they come. So that has been our approach.
Okay. And sir, with respect to roles, a lot of students have questions that what sort of roles can I get into once I graduate from MICA? So what are the typical roles that are offered on campus? And in the last couple of years, do you see any new sort of roles that have started shaping up?
Okay, so in roles, I think MICANs do very well in the side of brand. Okay, so starting from brand strategist, brand managers. So these roles have been coming across. In the area of strategy consulting also, the roles have been coming to MICA. The emerging roles, of course, from roles like growth roles have been emerging in the last 3 to 4 years time, which again MICANs would definitely like to explore and contribute, and which has happened in last couple of years. Growth roles are happening. So overall, I would say that in the area of roles, starting from roles in creative strategy as well as strategic marketing communication, these are roles where MICANs are already well entrenched into the market and they would like to contribute further, and they get into leadership roles very fast in these type of domains. So I would say that MICA is well poised to get into the next level with AI coming in, because AI is something which every organization is looking at in terms of managers who are not only AI literate, but they are also AI fluent. So keeping that in mind, MICA's course curriculum now has at least a 10% component of AI, and that is being reflected across students contributing in not only their projects but also in all types of assignments. This will be a facilitating and an important factor for recruiters in terms of selecting the right talent.
Okay. And so one last question before we conclude. Let's say a student has joined MICA, right? First year, first month itself. And the student wants to have the best placement outcome for himself or herself. What are the skills or behaviors they should start exhibiting so that they are able to achieve that?
I think instead of saying that exhibiting that behavior, I would say a MICAN graduate attribute is something which recruiters look for. So some of the key attributes is MICANs are very authentic. So come what may, be a situation in the organization or be a situation at a personal level, MICANs are very authentic. The second is MICANs can navigate through ambiguity. So this is something which makes them very versatile in terms of all types of odd situations. So if you look at MICANs, they can actually navigate through multiple challenges at one point of time. So that is the capability of MICANs. The other aspect which MICANs do very well are on the creative thinking part, which is a very higher level thinking part. And this all, along with extremely high capability and extremely high skills for storytelling and communication, is something which MICANs are known for. So I would say that even with that mindset, if they come in, these are the graduate attributes which are well exhibited by MICANs at the end of the curriculum. And this is what industry wants. They want authentic leaders. They want leaders who can navigate through ambiguity.
Okay. Yes. So thank you so much for taking out time.
Pleasure.
And I'm sure this interaction has helped and students understand firstly about the placement process at MICA and clarified a lot of concerns that they have. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And any other information which students would seek for is available on the website. I welcome all of them to have a look at the session.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.